Good morning, good afternoon to everybody. Chigwangwabale Arion is my name, the supervisor of the research wing, Dr. John Musanto, and drivers of informal financial services, your topic. On the screen, we have the table of content. This is the table of content that I'm going to use background. Financial services sector is crucial to Zambia's attainment of economic development and realization of Zambia's Vision 2030. Zambian financial system is dualistic in nature. That is to say, it is made up of informal and informal financial system is defined by Finiscope 2020 National Survey report as all transactions that occur outside Zambia's banking and other financial sector regulations. And these include savings club, chilimba, village banks, and informal money lenders that we locally call kaloba. Now, in this study, informal finance refers to the uptake of credit and saving services in informal financial system. Now, Zambia's financial reforms emphasizes on deepening access, quality, and usage of formal financial services, and a lot of efforts has been put towards the same. This is according to Financial Sector Deepening Zambia 2022. Now, despite all these efforts, 40% of people are not using formal financial services, and 30.6% of people are using neither of them. Now, it follows that there are factors determining an individual's choice between formal and informal financial services. Now, the problem statement. Broadening usage of formal finance is a goal actually that is anchored on Zambia's Vision 2030 to improve provision, access, and usage of formal financial services. Now, despite liberalization, privatization, legal and regulatory frameworks, informal finance has persisted. That affects accountability, legal enforcement, and it does impede smooth transmission of monetary policy. Now, informal finance has not been featured prominently in research and policy, and it is not clear what factors determine individuals' choice between formal and informal finance. Hence, we have this study. The clarity is not there as of what factors determine individuals' choice between formal and informal finance. That is the reason as to why we have this study. Now, the general objective of the study is to determine drivers of informal financial services utilization in Zambia that must be addressed by policy in order to reduce informality, enhance investments and growth by improving viability and utilization of formal financial services. The specific objectives are as follows. 1, to examine the influence of an individual's trust of formal financial institutions in determining one's choice between informal and formal financial services. I'm saying to examine the influence of an individual's trust of formal financial institutions in determining one's choice between informal and formal financial services. 2, to analyze the effect of institutional regulations on individuals' choice between formal and informal financial services. To analyze the effect of institutional regulations on individuals' choice between formal and informal financial services. And 3, to determine the influence of tertiary education on individuals' choice between formal and informal financial services. to determine the influence of tertiary education on individuals' choice between formal and informal financial services. On the screen, we have corresponding hypotheses to the specific objectives. Justification of the study. It is hoped that this study will enhance formal financial services to enhance economic development and attain, Zambia's Vision 2030, that is to have regional competitiveness of the financial system. The study may add to scant literature on the use of informal financial services in Zambia, and it is a good complement to Finiscope 2020 publication, which was mainly descriptive. The study employs an econometric model, hence it is a good complement to Finiscope 2020 publication. Theoretical framework. This study is anchored on three schools of thought. One, the neoclassical school of thought, expounded by McKinnon and Shaw of 1973. The two argue that government interference in financial markets was responsible for underdeveloped nature of countries' financial systems. As a result, the interference causes two parallel markets as people try to evade government controls and regulations. The second school is the structural school, that is of those structuralists. Taylor and Beckett, 1979 and 1988 respectively, the two argue that structural weaknesses in the functioning of the financial markets make people choose an alternative when the formal financial markets fail. And number three, imperfect information school, that was expounded by Stiglitz and Weiss in 1981. They say that market failure leads to moral hazard and adverse selection. Now, information asymmetry leads to lack of trust in financial systems. On the screen, I have the summary of empirical literature. Clapper and their colleagues in 2021 did a study that they titled Financial Inclusion and the Informal Finance Country Evidence from Global Findex. Using the Probit model, it was found that trust factors, region, and institutional regulation were significant determinants of informal finance use. It is only that this study did not use Zambian data. Now, Mwamba and Banda in 2022, they did a study as well that they titled Socio-Economic Determinants of Chilimba Participation in Zambia. Using the multinomial probit model, they found that gender, education, size were significant predictors of participation in Chilimba. It is only that they did not look at the broader informal finance. They didn't consider other forms of informal finance. Now, Finiscope 2020 survey that was titled Profiling Development in Financial Access and Usage in Zambia, using descriptive statistics, it was found that 40% of Zambian adults do not use formal finance, and 30.6% use neither of the two. Now, the gap is that the study lacks econometric modeling and the findings are merely descriptive. And the study did not analyze specific determinants of informal finance use. Now, methodology. The dependent variable is dichotomous in nature. For that reason, conventional regression methods are not appropriate, and linear probability model is heteroscedastic and may predict probabilities beyond the range of 0 and 1. Now, the study for that reason will use maximum likelihood technique to estimate logistic regression model, and the econometric model is what we have here. It has the trust age, terms, gender, region, and household size as the independent variables. Now, the data that we're going to use is from Finscope 2020 National Survey dataset, and the sample size thereof is 12,781. The pre-diagnostic tests will be number one, model specification, that will be done using the link tests, the goodness of fit, that will be done using pseudo R, using variance V. On the screen, we have the descriptive statistics. These are the descriptive statistics from the same data I am talking about. The following are the references that I used in this study. Thank you so much for listening.